Last week, I attended a seminar about the deaf community and sign language for the first time. I was stunned at how many people were there signing and how many people I recognized from television or other YouTube channels that were all interesting and patient to my very rudimentary and slow signing. This seminar was organized by the Sign Language Research Lab in the University of Haifa in memory of Professor Irit Meir, who was the head of the lab for many years and passed away 2 years ago. From the way people talked about her, she sounds like a really interesting person. In her memory, her daughter, Irit Meir, wrote a song called Breadcrumbs that was projected in the hall, translated to Hebrew, Israeli Sign Language, and American Sign Language, which was very emotional, and I highly recommend to check it out. For accessibility, everything was presented in English, American Sign Language, Israeli Sign Language, Hebrew, and live Hebrew captions. It seems like each speaker could choose which language to present in, and the rest were translated live. Funny enough to me, for a room full of deaf people, there sure was lots of background noise from the audience. Whether it was phone ringing, private conversations, or even candy wrapping. In this seminar, I finally properly met a sign language linguist from my university who presented a sign language documentation project called SignHub. Now I'm waiting for this project to be released in order to see how we can use their data for machine translation in the future. I also met Tal Busidan, who is one of the Israeli sign language interpreters for Kan, which is one of our news channels in Israel. I showed him this video, which I ran pose estimation on to see if the size of the bubble on television is big enough to learn from, and he seemed amused. We also talked a bit about my research goals, for which he was supportive and interested, and I learned some nuances from him for things I should keep in mind. He introduced me to Talia Shemer-Ettinger, who was one of the interpreters in this seminar. Talia has a Facebook blog with anecdotes on why it will not be so easy for robots to replace sign language interpreters. One of the great points she raised when we talked about translating from sign to text is the huge variability of signers. This was the first moment I was happy to have this YouTube channel, as I immediately pulled out my phone to show her my work on data augmentation in the previous video. I hope that in the upcoming months I'll even be able to claim how much, if at all, this augmentation helps. Anyway, Talia's blog is full of great posts in Hebrew, links in the description. In the last part of the seminar, we were introduced to other sign languages originating in Israel. Naima Al-Sayed talked about Al-Sayed Bedouin Sign Language, and Meyad Sarsour Nadai talked about Kfar Qasim Sign Language. It was fascinating for me to learn these exist, and to be honest, a bit sad, as I know these small community languages, used by mere hundreds of people, will never get the full accessibility that more widespread languages do get now and might get in the future. The day ended with a theater performance of the Bisu Sign Language Theater Lab. While they performed in Israeli Sign Language, the performance was also accommodating for people who can't understand sign. Overall, I really enjoyed this seminar. It was really interesting and mentally taxing. I found conversing with deaf people who are fluent in sign very challenging, but also very rewarding. And everyone I talked about my research goals with was very supportive and encouraging. I hope they'll organize something similar next year, as I would really love to attend more seminars like this one.